Guam and Hoffaday viewers. Welcome to another episode of the We Want to Know Action Pack Show. My name is Phil Letty, the Action Pack Executive Director, and I am your host today with a special candidate interview with one of the candidates vying for your vote this primary election, and it is Mr. Will Parkinson. Hoffaday Will.
Hoffaday Guam, how are you today?
Actually, I mean, it's like we mentioned, right? So we're shooting this on the Friday right before the election. It's a bit rainy outside, so I hope everyone's staying safe, dry, and I'm driving safe as well. Before we do jump into the interview, we always like to do a nice little intro for the Action Pack. And the Action Pack was formed out of a need to play an active role in government, beginning at the grassroots level. Action Pack comprises members from a cross-section of Guam society, representing all walks of life, and united in our belief that we can affect change through action. We hope to help you get to know us better, as we also hope to help you get to know the candidates better. Well, before we jump into our interview questions, do you have any welcoming remarks to the viewers and voters?
Yeah, sure. Let me just introduce myself to your audience. Hello, everyone. My name is William Parkinson. I'm a Filipino-American raised on Guam. I'm the son of former Speaker Don Parkinson and Marina Alconga Parkinson. I was raised in the public school system here on Guam my entire life. Went to JQ San Miguel, Jose Arias Middle School, GW. Shout out to my geckos, 2004. And when I was growing up, all I ever wanted to be in my life was a firefighter. And so after I graduated from GW in 2004, I moved to the States and I was a federal firefighter for 9 years. Fought fire all over Region 1 and parts of Region 3. And, I was out there living my best life, living my dream when I go into law, preparing to go to law school to become a lawyer down the road. And in 2012, I got the hardest call I was ever going to get in my life. My father, former Speaker Don Parkinson, became too sick to work with advanced Parkinson's disease. And so I did what any good son would do. I dropped out of school, changed careers, and I came back home to become a full-time caretaker for my family, or for my father, and run the family business, a small local pawn shop. And, running the pawn shop and seeing people struggle to get by, pawning their treasured items just to make it to one more paycheck, as well as helping my dad through the VA system, because my father was a 100% disabled veteran. I saw how hard it was for our veterans to get the access they need if they didn't have family members that were able for them to help. And, so you only see so much of that before you want to do something about it. And that's what inspired me into getting involved in politics. And I actually cut my teeth in politics when I became an advocate for the legalization of cannabis in 2018, alongside Clint Rigel and all the others who fought for it. And I was one of the original activists that helped push legalization into the mainstream. And I worked on the Cannabis Control Board, helping craft the rules and regulations. And, that's kind of how I got my start in politics. And so now I'd like to continue my path into politics and help with some other issues. Like primarily, I want to fight for lower utilities, continue my father's work in fighting for lower utilities. Because I just had my first $1,100 power bill, and it is just way out of control. I do not need any more of that in my life. So, in the short term, I'd like to consider legislation similar to what Governor Liu has done, where she just helps pay down a little bit of our bill on our behalf, just to help us out in the short term. But in the long term, what I would like to do is I would like to use federal dollars to slap solar panels on each and every individual house here on Guam, because we have storm-resistant buildings with flat roofs and 10 months of sun out of the year. And so in my mind, that's kind of the elusive obvious. Not only that, I also want to make sure we are future-proof against future disasters, because I'm sure, you lived through the pandemic, I lived through the pandemic, we all lived through the pandemic, and we all saw how important the PUA and the unemployment insurance was to keeping us all together. Well, that program was temporary. It was erected in record time in 6 weeks by some incredibly talented people over at Department of Labor. And we can't bank on that sort of luck happening again if we have another major disaster to erect a program like that. So in my mind, we need to erect that program. So whether it be disease, war, or some sort of typhoon, we have some sort of modern safety net already in place to help take care of us during the next disaster, because you don't want to be erecting those things during the disaster. So I want us to be prepared. And also that I'm a defender of freedom in all its forms. You know, I'm a big believer in freedom for the cannabis industry, freedom for women's rights. You know, I'm a very staunch pro-choice advocate, as well as, you know, like I said, I'm a believer in all freedom of all its form. I am very pro Second Amendment. You know, I lived 9 years in Idaho. You could take the boy out of Idaho. Sometimes you can't take the Idaho out of the boy. And, you know, so I've been a man who's worn many hats throughout his life. I was a firefighter, a student, a caretaker, a small business owner, an advocate, a policy writer. So I hope to take all these different perspectives, these unique perspectives, into the legislature if I'm fortunate enough to be elected by all of you. So I please ask everyone watching to please consider me, William Parkinson, number 8, for one of your votes.
Excellent. Well, that's definitely a well-rounded portfolio of experience. Like you mentioned, from the federal fire side all the way to the advocacy side, and your story in regards to the pawn shop, having that first hand point of view of those of the desperation that a lot of people on our island have unfortunately come to reality to face, due to the climate of our economy, and of course being post pandemic. So that, I think that's going to give you another variable and point of view in comparison to possibly some of the others that are vying for votes. So we'll jump right into the interview questions. I know you kind of touched on some of your foundations as far as what makes you a viable candidate to our voters, but can you please let us know what are your 3 platform pillars?
My 3 platform pillars is the lower utilities. That's first and foremost. Cost of living is just out of control on Guam. And like I said, I want to slap solar panels on everybody's roofs, because that is the elusive obvious. It's right there. Let's take advantage of it. And so I know with CCU and GPA, there's a little bit of a difference in philosophies. I like individual solar panels on everyone's roofs, and they seem to prefer solar farms. And so hopefully, if I'm elected into the legislature, we can have a healthy dialogue and find ways to compromise and maybe have a little bit of the best of both worlds there. The second part of my pillar is future proofing us against future disasters. In the short term, I want to do it with the unemployment insurance, because that's first and foremost. Let's get the typhoon shutters up before the typhoon. But long term, if we could whisper of a dream, I would like to be one of the legislatures that pushes forth universal health care on Guam, because the pandemic also taught me that when your health insurance is tied to your job and you have a mass unemployment event, what do we do for health insurance? It really highlighted a huge weakness in our healthcare system. And so I want to, the governor has spoken of a plan of finding a way to implement universal health care here on Guam. And I have no doubt they're going to come up with a good plan. And if it's a good plan, that's a sort of plan I would like to support, to bring universal health care to our people of Guam. And the third thing is just to be a bulwark on freedoms. With the overturn of Roe v. Wade and just the general tenor of the Supreme Court, where they are pushing a lot of issues back to the states, I want to make sure that we have local legislatures, like similar to myself, who will protect freedoms in all its form. Whether it be cannabis freedoms, women's freedoms, firearms freedoms. I'm a believer in protecting people's freedom.
Excellent. Thank you for giving us a rundown of, I know you have many other campaign points, but thank you for selecting your 3 pillars to share with our viewing audience. Our next question is, what is one main focused item that you believe you can realistically accomplish in one term?
I believe the one that I'm really going to put a lot of my political capital behind, if I have the pleasure of serving in the legislature, is the permanent unemployment insurance. Like I said, like we need to prepare for the next disaster because we know it's coming. So there's no excuse for us not to be prepared. So right out the gates, that's the bill I want to push in my first 100 days. And then after that, after we've prepared for the emergencies, then we could start to look at all the other policy points. But the first one is we got to get our house in order and make sure that we are prepared for the next disaster that we all know is coming.
Yeah, if the pandemic and COVID-19 coronavirus taught us anything, it's that we definitely should be in a proactive state of mind going forward. So I definitely appreciate having certain things in place prior to facing any pandemic or as you mentioned, any other issues that might come up in the near future. Now, in closing, it's no secret that the Action PAC is backed by and made up of the largest business organizations on Guam. I always give a shout out to our founding partners, the Guam Chamber of Commerce, Guam Women's Chamber, Chinese Chamber, Korean Chamber, Guam Contractors Association, Association of Realtors on Guam, as well as the Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association. The organizations and their industries are who and what make up the PAC. And with that said, how will you help our local business community as we continue to proceed through and past these times of economic recovery?
Well, if I could sum up in one word how I want to help all of the business community, it's technology. Because, okay, let me tell you a story. When I was helping my wife sign up for her driver's license for her driver's test, um, we waited a total of 10 hours in line at Reventax. And, I know a lot of people on Reventax and they're incredibly hardworking people. And, for us to see a 5 hour line just to go in there and see what we needed, plus another 5 hour line to turn it all in, it really shows you how overwhelmed by demand Reventax and a lot of our GovGuam agencies are. And so what I would like to do is I would like to upgrade our technology here to the future, because if you ever see the computers that Reventax uses and the programs he uses, they're ancient. They make the little green screen on the Matrix look ancient, and that was in the late 90s. And so I would like to make sure that our government operations are streamlined and more efficient so that people can gain the most valuable resources that we ever have, and that's time. I want to make sure the average worker has time, because who has 10 hours to spare to go get basic documentation at any GovGuam agency, much less business owners. Like, imagine if you're trying to get a business license and you got to wait 10 hours in line too. Like, so that's the kind of streamlining I want to do. Is I want to get people time by using technologies to enhance what we already have, because these people work incredibly hard, but they need help, and I think technology is the way to do that.
As a quick follow up to that answer, how do you foresee doing the increasing the efficiency at the government agency, supporting the business economic struggles currently?
Well, technology would also help us at like the port level. Like right now, we have a lot of contraband coming into Guam. One of the things that is the most contrabanded item in the world is cigarettes. And so, I'd like to use things like screening and proper computer technology so that we have a good log on these things and we're not just doing it by the honor system. Because, one of the things that hurts the business community is if one person is paying taxes and their competitor isn't, the one that isn't paying the taxes has a significant advantage. So on that front, I'd like to level the playing field by making sure that everybody is taxed fairly and correctly and efficiently using modern technologies to help streamline this process.
Excellent. Thank you. That paints a clearer picture for our viewing audience and our the businesses that make up the PAC. Now, I want to first and foremost thank you for your time setting apart. I know it's busy. The election season is busy for all of the candidates with the primary happening tomorrow. Is there any final closing remark that you would like to give the potential viewer or voter who you're vying for one of their 15 votes tomorrow?
Yeah, like I just want to talk about just attitude in general. I am I'm a positive guy. I'm a hopeful guy. There's a lot of people that are naysaying that, everything is as terrible as it could possibly be. But I actually don't feel that way. I think that Guam is truly on the verge of something special with this economic reopening that we're having. And, we just need to go in there with the right attitude, the right positive attitude, and try to be part of the solution rather than be part of the problem. Like, I don't want to be one of those senators that spends all my time trying to tear down the other side rather than being there trying to provide a solution. I want to be the senator that provides a solution. And, I want to take the kind of same ethics and ethos that my father took into the legislature too. When he became speaker in the legislature, even though he was a staunch Democrat, he was elected by 4 Democrats and 7 Republicans to become speaker. And even though the Democrats didn't trust the Republicans, and the Republicans didn't trust the Democrats, they all trusted Don Parkinson because Don Parkinson had treated them with honor, dignity, and respect. And so, I see a lot of the infighting where people just can't seem to work together. And I want to take that same ethos of, dignity, respect for my colleagues so that we could all work for the island of Guam, because I don't believe a single person has it out. Like anybody currently serving in the legislature or has before, is coming at it from a bad place. Everyone is coming at it from the right place in their heart. And so if I am elected your senator, even though I am a staunch Democrat myself, I promise that I will be a senator for everyone. So please, everyone out there watching, please consider me for one of your votes. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes, thank you for sharing that, sharing your time and your views and viewpoints and campaign platform with us. And it's very true. What you said in regards to what your father accomplished. It's exactly what the action pack is all about: is having that healthy dialogue, regardless of party or agenda, having that healthy dialogue for the betterment of Guam. And that's why we welcome both sides to the conversation. We are an apolitical organization, so we're here to have that conversation, and we hope that those that are elected into the 37th Guam legislature continue to bring in the industry experts and different minds to the table, so we can always find the best and most efficient solution going forward, regardless of what we're facing as an island. So again, thank you for your time and candor, and I just want to remind everyone, it is so important for you to get out and vote. It is so important to get out and vote. This is, I would say, one of the most important elections that we've had in quite some time. Coming post-pandemic, a lot of new faces, new ideas, and candidates. And of course, we have our seasoned candidates running again. So please get out and vote. Listen to Mr. Will's interview again if you need to rehash what his ideas are. See if they align with your foundational values. And if you feel that he is a good fit, you can find him on the Democratic side of the ballot. Will, what number were you again?
I'm number 8 on the ballot.
Number 8 on the ballot. That's where you'll find him. So voting does go down tomorrow, the 27th, and I'm very excited to see come Sunday morning what the results are. And Will, you can guarantee that if the island does see you through the primary, we'll be reaching out for another conversation that we get closer to the general.
Oh, fantastic! I'm always happy. I always say yes to whatever I'm invited to. So please call me again if I'm fortunate enough to make it past the primary.
Absolutely. Well, you stay blessed, Guam. You stay blessed, stay dry, and please do buckle up while you're driving. We're entering into the rainy season, and I believe that it's very, very important that we all take our safety precautions on the road. So thank you so much, and we will catch you guys on the next episode. Adios.